I find this unusual because one of the last in-person interviews we got to do as the ReelBlend team was John Krasinski for A Quiet Place Part 2.
last.
Yes, the last one that we did. We were in New York City before the industry shut itself down. And it was for Quiet Place Part 2. We have not been able to run that yet. That movie has now been pushed back till 2021. And it turns out that before that film even comes to theaters, it's going to be getting a spinoff.
Do we still have that interview? Like, who has that interview? You?
Gabe,
I'd love to hear it. Like, honestly, like I'd love to hear it.
Krasinski keeps texting me. He goes, "When are you guys airing this?" I'm like, "No, I'm kidding." No,
Weirdly enough, Emily Blunt keeps texting me.
In all honesty, John Krasinski's not texting me, but I was wondering that the other day. Like, do we still have that file? Is the link still working for it? Did we download the file?
I downloaded everything. Everything was safe.
And shout out to Junket. I want to give a shout out to Junket Productions. I know this is not going to air for a while, but Junket Productions is the company who generally puts together the press junkets that we do. They set the cameras up. They build our tapes. They were so nice to actually professionally record the interview for us because Gabe wasn't there this time. Because I remember Gabe coming up for Tarantino, which was amazing. But shout out to them. They've been working really hard during the pandemic with all the junkets and the Zoom stuff. So
I got to ask, do you guys remember the ending of Quiet Place Part 2?
Yes.
I cannot remember it for the life of me. I feel like enough time has passed and I've seen enough things that I can hardly remember what happened.
In fact, whenever
I can't actually.
Whenever the talk of A Quiet Place 3 came out, my first thought was, okay, it's got to pick up at that place.
Okay. Then tell me afterwards because I honestly don't remember.
I'll tell you.
We're super excited for Jeff Nichols taking over A Quiet Place spinoff. Now, we don't know any of the details, right? We don't know like what type of...
Well, it's a story from Krasinski, right? It's Krasinski's story.
Okay.
Do you think that... Not that I'm not excited. Obviously, we're all excited about Nichols coming in because he's an incredible storyteller. But I can't imagine that Emily's going to keep making these. If anything, I'd say she'll do one more and then that'll be it.
I would assume...
So is there any part of you that's surprised that Krasinski wouldn't want to come back just to, like, if it just, I'm not saying, I mean, knowing any studio, they'll keep making them and keep making them and keep making them. But if this family is just going to be the core, like, trilogy, and then they make spinoffs,
right?
Aren't you a little surprised that Krasinski wouldn't come back just to do the last one and close it out?
But wait, he might, though, still, right? Like, this is not Quiet Place Part 3. There could theoretically still be a Quiet Place Part 3 that focuses on this family.
Wait, I thought this was a Quiet Place Part 3.
No, I think this is a spinoff.
Oh, it's a spinoff.
That's the way, the Hollywood Reporter was reporting it.
Yes.
Jake,
Jeff
I'm with
Nichols
you.
is coming in to tell
I
the
thought it was
story in
Part
that
3.
world.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So you're
It's
saying
almost like when they were showing the campfires in the first one, and you saw other people communicating, and you thought, well, how are they surviving in this weird environment?
Which they also touch on in Part 2.
They do, yes. Shh, spoilers. I know, that's fine.
I saw it like 1,000 years ago. I got to talk about it with somebody.
Wait, so
I was talking. This is the most like name drop thing. But Kevin Smith was Kevin's best friend. Kevin Smith was in Chicago last week, and somehow we were talking. He was asking me about how junkets are going, and I said, well, yeah, I said we're doing them via Zoom, and this is kind of how we're doing them. And he was like, oh, what's the last one that you did before kind of the world? And I was like, it was A Quiet Place Part 2. He goes, you've seen it? And I was like, yeah. He goes, tell me everything. I was like, no. I was like, but it was like, it's interesting. Like, I forget that, like, we've seen a movie that 0.0001% of the movie going public has seen.
And I sat right next to ReelBlend #1 fan beside my mom, Chase, our buddy Chase. So I keep wanting to call him Chase Crawford, which is his real
Well, no, you call Chase Crawford Chase Cusack, and then you call Chase Cusack Chase Crawford.
Sorry, Chase Cusack.
Nichols, we assume, has to bring Michael Shannon back for this, right? Like, that's where...
yeah. But the least quiet actor in the world, when he really gets going.
He could be subdued if he wants.
He can be brooding and menacing in a quiet way.
Oh, God. He would be great.
We were talking about how Take Shelter and also...
Take Shelter.
Midnight Special.
Midnight Special.
So you guys... It sounds like when we were talking earlier, it sounds like you guys are more I'm more of a Take Shelter guy. You guys are Midnight Shelter?
Midnight Special?
Midnight Shelter.
I like them both.
Midnight Special, sorry.
I think Midnight Special... Go ahead. No, I was going to say, I think Midnight Special is maybe... They're both great examples of why he's perfect for a Quiet Place movie, but I think Midnight Special 100%. Really captures the tone of him protecting his family and being on the run from something.
Did he do Mud also?
Yeah. Mud, yeah.
He did Mud too?
He hasn't made a bad movie.
Damn.
Not
Wait, Mud's terrific.
Wow. Shotgun Stories was his first movie?
I'm not sure.
Fantastic.
This sounds like a man that needs to be on ReelBlend.
Well, that's part of the reason I'm so
Yes.
excited about this is so he's the kind of filmmaker who he makes his movies in his hometown in Texas with the crew that he's had forever and Michael Shannon. And he doesn't really do, I think Midnight Special might be his biggest budget that he shopped around, but he really is keeps things very indie. And I love the thought of him doing a Quiet Place movie, it making a ton of money with his name on it, and him getting a huge budget to do a Nichols original was what I'm hoping the best case scenario is.
Midnight Special is the movie that put Nichols on the map for me personally.
It's so good.
It's just an incredible film. I mean, if anybody out there hasn't seen it, it's like one of my favorite. It's like one of the best sci-fi movies I've seen in. I can't even remember the last time I saw something like that. I mean, Interstellar probably, but it's great.
I'm torn between I want John Krasinski to come back and finish a trilogy, but I'm also intrigued to see what else he can do, right? Like, I kind of want him to take on another project, explore something else, because I really do feel seeing those two films that he's got a lot of potential. And
Well, that's why I always liked what Nolan did with the Batman trilogy, which is do a movie in between.
Right.
Like he did Batman Begins and then did The Prestige, came back for The Dark Knight, did Inception, and then came back for The Dark Knight Rises.
Isn't that what Coppola did with Godfather, right? Did he do the first two and then he do Apocalypse Now in between? Am I wrong on that?
Well, there was like a 20-year gap between.
Right, but there was...
Oh, do you think Paramount would give us Coppola for the remastering of Part 3?
Oh,
No.
I know exactly what I was thinking about. I was thinking I think he made The Conversation and Godfather
Well,
2.
he did Conversation and I thought he did Conversation and Godfather like
They
the
were
same
both
year.
1974
They were
films.
both
Damn.
nominated for Best Picture,
Damn.
too. He had...
That's
ridiculous.
That's like a Spielberg Schindler's List Jurassic Park kind of thing.
Dude, he had The Conversation and... Was it Godfather 1 or 2?
I thought it was one.
Either one, they were nominated for Best Picture at the same time.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's crazy.
So they split the vote. Come on, that's not fair. Something else must have rose up. No, because Godfather won it, didn't
Godfather won. They didn't
it? Yeah,
split the vote.
Godfather won it.